welcome to my journey and to another meal prep video. Got a small one for you today. I didn't want to make a lot. I didn't eat a lot last week, so I'm afraid I'm going to make too much food that I can eat, because I'm telling you, eating the protein helps tremendously. If you don't change but one thing in your diet, eat your protein and eat enough. That's the best advice I can give you as far as staying full. So, what we made today for a snack are ham and pickle roll-ups. I know some of y'all remember from way back in the day. We're talking the 80s, maybe the 70s. Those were the things. They were all the rage. So, I made some of those. And then I made a lasagna mini meatloaf. It made 12 of them. And they smell wonderful. Can't wait to get into them. And they are nice and high protein and low net carbs. So I'm excited to give you what I got today. Even though it's small, it's mighty. I say it's mighty. So let's go ahead and get started cooking. We're going to start on our ham and pickle roll-ups. So this is just ham that I got from Walmart's in the deli. I didn't get the, you can get the kind, prepackaged, but I went for this one in the deli. Now I just have cream cheese spread. I have two. I don't think I'm going to use all this one. And these are so old school. I mean, these are old school. You just spread your cream cheese. You don't have to use cream cheese spread. You can use like softened, oh, it's going to tear my ham. They cut that stuff so thin. You can use regular cream cheese that you softened. And as much as you put on there is as much as you want. I'm going to spread this out and see. Because I do want to be able to have enough to taste. And I'm not cutting the fat parts off. This is just, they call it ham off the bone. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Okay, I probably should turn that. Now I have some pickles over here that I dried off. Let me cut the little ends off. These are just kosher baby deals. Look for the ones in the jar that are bigger. They have some petites, but look for the ones that are the bigger babies. And then just going to put it in there and roll it up. Let me wipe my hands off just a minute. And then you just cut them. Now these little first pieces are not going to, see, that didn't have pickle in it because the pickle didn't go all the way to the end. I'm going to have cream cheese on everything. Okay, that's a messy one. We'll just drop it in there. Okay, this, look, it started coming unrolled. See that ham falling apart? It's so thin. They're supposed to be nice and round, but depends on your ham. But you can see. And they are just delicious. I might not need such a big container. I'm only going to do like 3 pickles worth, I think. So, let me finish these and I'll show you what I'm going to eat that one. And I'll show you what I got. There are our pickle roll-ups. So next up, we're going to start on our meatloaves. Alright, now for the meatloaves, you need a big pan, a little bit of oil. Don't really need much. And then 5 cups of chopped spinach. I didn't measure the 5 cups and then chop it. I chopped it and then measured the 5 cups. And this was a whole 6-ounce bag of baby spinach. So that's what I'm going with. So all we need to do is just cook and stir this until it's completely wilted down, which it won't take too very long. No need to salt it or anything like that. Okay, this is done. It says blot away excess moisture, but I don't see any. So I'm not going to worry about that step. Now we will slide over. Now for the meatloaf part. I've got 1 pound of hamburger in here. This is 93%. Let me go ahead and chop it up a little bit. I meant to, yeah, I got it. Okay, now we need a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Half a teaspoon of salt. Two cloves of minced garlic, and you know I just use this kind. And I just eyeball it. Looks good to me. And then I'm going to mix this up before I add my other ingredients, just to make sure the hamburger gets seasoned. Okay, now we need to add 1 cup of onions. And the only reason I measured it, because y'all know I don't never measure onions, is because I didn't want it to be, and they're supposed to be finely chopped, but I was not going for that step because I had these already in the refrigerator. The reason I measured them is because I didn't want the meatloaves to overflow the pan so much, so I thought I would stick with the original amount. And then we need to add our spinach. Still hot, but I don't think it'll matter. And my oven is preheated to 375. I'm going to mix this in. I think these are going to be really good. Okay, and I almost forgot 2 tablespoons of panko breadcrumbs. Now this is low carb, but guess what? These 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs are not going to make or break those carbs. I am not worried about it. And I got the breakdown on the recipe. Since I'm making it exactly like it says, I can follow their macros. Okay, so hold on. Let me get my glove on. Alright, if you're new here, everybody else knows, but if you're new here, I don't touch raw hamburger. I can't stand the way it makes my hands feel. It is just grody. It's just that feeling. Not that it's raw meat. I don't care about raw meat. I've been up to my eyeballs in raw deer, squirrels. I mean, you know, pig butchering. So I ain't afraid of raw meat. I just don't like the way it feels on my hands. Now, chicken grosses me out. It grosses me out. But none of the other ones do. Pork, I don't need gloves on for that. Unless it would be ground pork, all bets are off. Let me see if I can get these onions all mixed in here. Smells really good with that Italian seasoning in it. Okay, let me get the muffin tin. Now I have already sprayed, and I sprayed the whole surface of it because I don't want anything, this sauce that we're going to put on it, that's going to burn, I know, and the cheese that's going to get over it. I don't want none of that, so I'm going to go through here before I flatten them out and see that I've got enough to go around, because it's supposed to make 12. I feel like I'm putting too much in them. Let me back off a little bit and see. Okay, let me take some out of these big ones. Okay, I got some onions left here. Let's don't forget those. Okay, now I'm going to mash them down. And you can't see what I'm doing back there. I'm just mashing them down, forming them in the little whale. You can see some are bigger than others. You could weigh it out if you wanted to, but just for me, you know what I think about it? Is maybe I'm eating two different sizes and the macros will be a little off. But if I eat all of these, then all the macros divided out are going to be even. So that's how I look at it. Because, I mean, that's how it is. There you go. Now, we need to go along and make a little center in the middle. I don't know if I need to go make a hole, but that went all the way to the bottom, so I'm going to make a whale. Let me set this aside. In this bowl, I have 2/3 cup of ricotta cheese. And I need to add a 1/4 cup of salt. So altogether you need 3/4 teaspoon, not a 1/4 cup, oh my gosh. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So that's 3/4 teaspoon you need altogether. And I'm just using light, the low-fat cottage cheese. Okay, let's pull this back over here. I'm going to try to be even about it. Alrighty, that worked out. Now we need 3/4 cup of spaghetti sauce, and I'm just using Prego because that's what we like. And we just need to spoon it over the top. Okay, now these will go in at 375 for about 35 minutes. You want the top, you want the meatloaves firm, and you want the edges just to start to brown. We're not putting the cheese on yet, so let's bake them first. These meatloaves are done, and they smell amazing. Don't turn your oven off, though, because now we're going to add the cheese. You need 3/4 cup of cheese. I typically weigh my cheese because I shred it myself, but I packed it in there good just to make sure I had enough ounces. Because I just wasn't feeling it. Y'all ever get that way where you're just not feeling things? So we're just going to try to evenly distribute this cheese. And we can come back and see, the good thing about that lean hamburger is it's not swimming in grease. Okay, now pop these back in the oven for 5 minutes until that cheese is melted. Here they are, fresh out of the oven. Cheese all melted. They're bubbly. I can hear them sizzling. I'm going to let them sit just a minute just to gather themselves. And then we'll put them on a plate and we will go over here and see what we made today. Here is our simple, small prep that's really going to help. It doesn't take much. Our ham and pickle roll-ups. And I don't have any stats to put on the screen because I didn't figure them out. I don't know how much protein's in that ham. There's not much in one. There's just not. These are not full of carbs. They are protein snacks. I don't know. There'll be some carbs in the pickles, I imagine, just from the cucumbers. And I'm sure there's a carb or two in the cream cheese. I didn't look. But these are still protein. These are not tater chips. So these are my snacks, my ham and pickle roll-ups. And then these lasagna mini meatloaves, I'm going to tell you what. There's no way they can't be good. They smell so good. And out of 2, I'm going to read my recipe that I got glued here in my book. For 2 of the meatloaves is, let's see, 208 calories, 7 net carbs, and 25 grams of protein. So I consider that a win. That is a high protein dinner. And I can't wait to get a hold of it. Might start today, not too sure. So anyway, there are our 2 delicious low carb, high protein. This is not high protein, but it's protein. Meal prep videos. I hope you're prepping something good. And I will see you when I see you.